Buddy Webb here in Midland, Texas. It's Saturday, December 10th, 2016. I want to create a video today and to show some of the evidence I have, a lot of the evidence. I've got a message back on YouTube and somebody says, let's see the proof, and that's right. This is an incredible story of somebody that has tunneled under a house, made a hidden underground access, and then used that to murder unsuspecting homeowners, and with the help of a group of still secret police. It's an incredible story, and that's all it is an incredible story, unless we have some proof to back it up, and I have a lot of proof. That's what I tell everybody. This whole thing is based on hard evidence and fact. So that's what I'm going to do here today, is as quick as I can, because there's so much evidence, and I'm going to cover as much as I can and try to keep it where this video doesn't go too long, but show you what I'm seeing. Here, let me switch the camera around here. Alrighty, there we go. And so here I want to start out here. I moved here in 2008. I was transferred here by DCP Midstream, and I had a handshake deal to buy this home right here on Todd Road. And so I signed my relocation paper. A guy named Harris, I believe his name was John Harris, was selling this house. And so I was a guaranteed sell and move, and I was going to pay cash and buy this house. And then a few weeks before I was going to move, he sells it to this other guy, and he said this other guy named Rennie Molinar just come knocking on his door one day and offered a little bit more than what I had offered. And it was really bizarre. It was real strange. And so that kind of left me homeless, because I was moving and I had nowhere to move. And what kind of interesting about this is, after I'm shot 4 years later, I happen to drive out by the house just to look at it, and I see a car parked out there in front of this house that I seen parked in front of my small little cul-de-sac here, in front of my house here, where I've had all the break-ins and the murder attempt and all that. And so I just moved quickly past that. The previous homeowner of this house was named Mike Lawhon, Sarah and Mike Lawhon, actually. Mr. Lawhon, he died a couple weeks before I bought the home. He died on October 12, 2008. I was forced to go get a realtor. There's my realtor, Janine Pruitt, and this is the first day I looked at this house in this picture. And the reason I put this picture up here, because I want to show that the back door is fine, because by the time I met the home inspector here on actually the 28th, that doorknob was gone. There was a hole there. Somebody brute force entered here, and Mike Lawhon died on the 12th. Okay, and so the day I took the picture was on the 1st. So on the 1st it was fine. The 12th he died, and then I found it myself on 28th. So I could prove a brute force entry during the month that he died. And then also going online, I found where it said he died in Fort Worth, and then I found another death notice that says he died in Midland. And I don't want to get too involved, but my neighbor across the street told me he died in this house twice. And one time she looked at me and she says, "I should know, right?" And she was very serious. I believe that he was murdered here and carried to Fort Worth, and then the home was sold to me. But that's a story in itself. I just wanted to put that there. Just recently, this week, a guy named Aaron Packelhofer, he's not even on my friends list. I don't really know this gentleman here, but he asked me a question, and since I'm not from Midland, this was new to me. He says, there were 4 people who were murdered, died in your house, and he asked me who they were. Well, that's the first time I'd heard about that. I had been told that as I showed you, Lawhon had died here, but officially he died in Fort Worth. And then that same neighbor told me somebody else had died here, but that was only 2 people. And here this guy says 4 people died in this house, and I probably believe that's true, actually, because I know they tried to murder me. And so here's a video I got on my YouTube. That's under Buddy Webb on YouTube. One word, Buddy Webb. Okay. My first call to the police for a burglary to this home was in November 9th, 2010. Okay, a couple years later, I lived here by myself, and you can see that. And at this time, I didn't think anybody was getting in the attic. I didn't think of any tunnels or nothing like that. I just figured out that somebody was coming in my house. I mean, that's all there is to it. And on the very first call to the police, after I knew, I was positive that somebody had been in my house, I'd actually straightened the rug up by the back door, knowing if you stepped on it, it'd go crooked. And then I set a trap's what I did. And sure enough, the people were in my house, and so I caught them. At least I knew they were in here while I gone. And right off the bat, you can see possible 1096, which 1096 is mental case, basically means crazy. So for starting right off my very first call for a burglary, which was a valid call, and they've already, put down possible crazy, basically, is what that comes to. And I've got a list here that I created and to help me go by, and y'all can see this on the screen, I'm sure. My first call for somebody in the attic was a couple of months after that. Okay, we'll zoom that in. That's January 8th, 2011. Think of how long that is. Okay, and you're gonna see sounds like someone's in the attic. If you go to my YouTube, you will find that I've got a half a dozen calls from that I've recorded off my police scanner. Other people in the area reporting people in the attic. Woman in Carlsbad burned a house down 2012 because she said somebody's in the attic. Right, I've had more people write me and tell me people in the attic. I think this is a new way they're committing crime, and I think it has something to do with human trafficking, and it's definitely connected to the murders of my life. And these are some of the police officers, and one of them that's interesting is Michael Chandler, because we're going to see that Chandler name. He is married to April Chandler, I believe, and she is a key player in this story. Okay, and so we're in 2011 now. Remember, I moved here in 28. Now we're 2011. Okay, this is a key night here, December 20th, 2011. The police were called here to my home. The burglaries to this house were still going on. Remember, the first call was in 2010, November 2010. First call for someone in the attic was January 2011. Here we are, December 2011. Okay, once again, and this is myself, and there was disagreement over the repeated break-ins of the house. Okay, but what's real key on this report on December 20th, right before Christmas, and this is about 39 days before I'm shot, is these police officers right here. You can see them. They handcuffed me in my living room, took me outside, put me in a police car that had a bag of pot already laying in the back seat. I seen it as soon as I got there. I mean, the threat of being framed was obvious. I mean, I wasn't framed, and they never said a word, but I knew it. They put me in there, and it was a surprise anyway. I walked out there, here, let me show you what's going on. Went to talk to them, and all of a sudden they slapped the handcuffs on me, took me in, put me in a car with a bag of pot. And then they said, we better not be called over here again for this stuff, Mr. Webb. And this stuff was calls for repeated burglaries, been going on for a year to this house, and that I thought was connected to a prostitution ring. I get back into my house, and the person that's here says, we're creating a document trail on you. A document trail. And that's why I got to thinking, they created a document trail on Mike Lawhon. But I'm not going to get in that story. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that. And what we're also going to see here, and I'll show it in a minute. I'm going to turn it back around. Okay. We're going to see here that after I was shot, and I'm going to show you here in a minute, and this is 11:31 on 128. Now remember, this is December 20th. But there was a reference made from the night I was shot at 11:31. Remember that time, okay? Because they referenced this report. Now remember what I said. There was a document trail. I believe whoever created this cross-reference, this X-reference at 11:31 was involved in creating the document trail to cover up the murder of my life, my murder. I mean, that's what I just recently found this was done, because you're going to find out I had barely crawled out of my house at that time, and they're already creating a document trail. But they didn't know I had been told that on this night that I had been told that they're creating a document trail on me. It was pre-planned in advance. Okay. All right, so now we're on to the day of the shooting, the day of the murder attempt. Okay, this is what we call the y'all cam logs. This is the inside security camera, and I'm gonna show you. It started up at 10:52 that morning on 1/28. That's the day I was shot. Okay, and it terminated at 8:08. Okay, at 20:08, and so that it mysteriously, I believe this was done in preparation to murder me. I believe it was intentionally cut off. And you will see it over here the next day at 1:29 at 3:16 a.m. it started back up. I was in the hospital at the time, and I'm going to show you in a minute. The police report shows that no police were at my house until February 1st. So nobody's in my house, but my camera automatically started up, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. It's because the secret police rebooted my computer to try to disable this camera, is my thought, and for whatever reason, it started it up when they rebooted. That's what it did. Okay, more time-stamped evidence. Okay, right here. This is not the shooting. I'm shot, and I fall to the ground and find my phone line cut. Actually, my cell phone had disappeared. Okay, earlier in the day my cell phone had just mysteriously disappeared, and I got people breaking this house. They come took it the same time they disconnected my security camera. Okay, that's what I believe. But I had my cordless phone on me, and then burglar alarms going off in the attic, and I'm walking towards the back door, and I fall to the ground. Boom, I'm shot, and you know, I don't know what happened. I was ambushed literally, and I had no communications. That's why I'm crawling out. And so, I mean, that actually proves that I had no communication. I didn't have a cell phone, and my home phone was disconnected. They tried to kill me in my house. The people who ever shot me tried to kill me, and we're going to see secret police in a minute. But we know when that was, at 10:42, okay? And so we're right here in this list at 10:42, if you can read that list, okay? And so at 11:01, the first police car, and you can tell it's a police car, arrives, and then the second police car arrives, and it's an unmarked police car. And this, we got a video of this too. And so remember, this is 11:01. I just been shot. My attorney subpoenaed the police records, and we got, you know, all the records they gave us. Should be all of them. I don't believe it is, but it should be. And these people were not dispatched. They just magically showed up minutes after I'm shot. And to this day, we don't know who they are. I've got a $2,000 reward to identify police. And these are some of the police. So we got that time-stamped evidence right there. What we got here? Let's see if I can get the next one. Okay, and so once again, 11:01, they're out of their car, and you can see them right here. You can see his gun on his holster. What's interesting, it's black and white, but it looks like they're in tan uniforms. So that's made me think that maybe they're with the sheriff's department. And I've even wondered if one of these is the late Deputy Mike Naylor, Midland County Sheriff Deputy Mike Naylor, that died in the line of duty. And then some people even wondered if he didn't die in the line of duty that had something to do with this night and the murder attempt on my life. But I can't get these people identified. I don't know who they are. Okay, and so here's my security camera, and it shows you at 11:22 my security camera is looking at the yard. At 11:22:43, a couple seconds later, it's looking at the wall. The police, the two police you've seen, rotated the cameras to disable them. Okay, that's what they did. They basically, the camera is up under the side of the house, and they reached up there and they turned the camera so it didn't look here, it looks at the wall. And so they effectively disabled my cameras at 11:22. So, you know, here I hadn't even, you know, been shot less than an hour, crawled out of my house, and this is really whatever, a few minutes after I crawled out of my house, and they've got my front cameras disabled on the front of my house. Time-stamped evidence there. Okay, and so front camera. Okay, here at 11:27. Okay, this is documented. This is in the nurse's notes, found it in the medical records. Nurse's note, KC2. That's Kiara Criswell is her name. She's documented. Patient stated. Okay, there are sirens going off. The alarms kept going off, and they were. The burglar alarms were going off in my attic over and over and over. Not just what y'all hear all the time that I record on the and upload videos. This was tauntingly, and I think they were maybe wanting me to chase them up there, and because now we think maybe that one of these home intruder criminals got trapped in the bathroom when I tie-wired the door shut earlier, because evidence had, looks like that's the case, and maybe they wanted me to climb up there or whatever, but for whatever reason, the alarms were going off over and over and over. Of course, I'm home by myself, here I'm Mr. Good Citizen, minding my own business. And so I'm going to flip that back around there. Okay, here we are. That was at 11:27, 1:28. Okay, now the next morning, 1:29 at 12:03. Okay, I was talking on a white voice recorder in case something happens to me and saying what they were doing in my house. I have proof. Just go look. There is proof. Okay, and you're going to see here MPD Officer April Chandler has the proof. And so in her narrative, in the information report, Chandler writes that she found my voice recorder in my closet and she checked it into evidence. The evidence logs that I have that we subpoenaed does not show that. Okay, so she lied. I mean, that's all there is to it. Based on the on what was subpoenaed information, Officer Chandler lied. More than that, Officer Chandler is never listed as being at my home. Okay, ever. I mean, on any of the incident reports that I have. Once again, that I have. Okay, but we subpoenaed all records. Okay, at the same minute, 12:03, Detective Rotary Rodriguez, this is the nurse, documents that Detective Rodriguez has my necklace and she's going to give it to my brother, and she says it has my belongings and gets this number. So basically, and what the reason I put this in there, because I wanted you to see that Rodriguez knew the proof's at my house, the now stolen proof. And what is that proof of? It's proof of a capital murder attempt. I was under a home invasion when I was shot. I had burglar alarms going off. How's that for evidence? Okay. Radiological orders. A doctor comes in right here, and I took the name of the doctor out, but I will say that I found out later he was my brother-in-law, and that's kind of interesting. Okay, but he ordered 3 x-rays, and this person here that doesn't use a real name, user in interface, canceled the doctor's orders. Canceled the orders for x-rays. Isn't that interesting? I could never get this person identified. And then they reordered 2 x-rays, okay? But what we're going to find is them x-rays were falsified, okay? And I'm going to show you in the next right here, you can see, and I'm going to show you, we're going to backtrack, okay, on 9/28/11, I broke my toe and I got an x-ray, okay? This is 4 months the day before I shot. This shows the heel bone and what it looks like. This is my foot, and that's what the heel bone looks like, okay? And that's what the heel bone ought to look like here, okay? Because this is 1/28/12, but the heel bone's already gone, okay? You can tell, it's real clear. Look, heel bone, no heel bone. Heel bone, no heel bone. Okay, and y'all can see all them shotgun pellets and everything, and that doesn't really mean anything because guess what? I hadn't had surgery yet. This is not my foot. They put my name on it, and they put that date on it, and they used somebody else's x-rays. And why did they do that? Because they're trying to, same reason the secret police in my house, they were trying to cover up a capital murder attempt that failed. That's why. And so I want you to see that. But even interested in that, did you see where user in interface had canceled the doctor's orders for x-rays? Maybe they didn't have enough fake x-rays or whatever. I don't know. But you find out who user in interface is, and then you're going to have a clue who faked them x-rays. And then we can get back to finding out who shot me and all the other, part of that. But I want to show you that on the x-rays. These were faked on 120. This dated 128, but it's not my foot because it doesn't have the heel bone. I have other x-rays and other proof on that. Okay, so now we're getting into the 129 stuff, okay? And I think I had this out there one time. I'll show you again, okay, about the voice recorder, okay? And at 3:15 a.m. that morning. Okay, so that's about 3 more hours, and I'm at the hospital. Okay, my computer, and I said that a while ago, it reboots. This is called your Windows System Event Log. It tells what the computer's doing. This is the security camera computer. The inside security camera computer is rebooted, and it didn't reboot by itself. It was user initiated. Okay, remember, we're going to see in a minute the police report for 129. No police were at my house officially, but they were, and that's why we call them secret police. They tried to disable the camera, and they actually started it. Praise God, hallelujah. I mean, that's a true miracle, because you know they wouldn't tell the truth, right? I mean, these are not good people. I mean, you know, most police officers are. These are not, because I can't even figure out who they are, you know. And so I only put a few of the pictures here. I want to show you that the first documented picture I have is at 3:36. And remember, once again, police report doesn't show anybody at my house at all, okay? And I got another picture here. This one is important because it shows the Midland K-9 police officer, okay? And you're going to find out here in a minute that in December 2014, a Midland K-9 police officer murdered his wife and killed himself, or allegedly murdered his wife and killed himself. And I believe the murder of Sandra Simpson is directly connected back to the capital attempted murder of my life, and I believe this is the guy that did it. But I don't have proof because I can't get the secret police identified. Okay, officially identified. Okay, here's another one of the security camera pictures, timestamp 3:47. Okay, this is April Chandler right here. You know, several people have said that's April Chandler. The police report says nobody was there, but several people have said, no, I know who that is, and I went to school with her or whatever. Okay, and so April Chandler was in my house regardless of what the police report says. Okay, this one right here, Detective Rosie Rodriguez. Okay, she met me at the 7-Eleven when I crawled out of my house and drove up there and honked on the horn and said, I need help, I've been shot. And she showed up. Okay, and let me tell you what happened here. On the narratives, on the police report for Rodriguez and for April Chandler, basically, April Chandler says she went to the 7-Eleven and she climbed in the front seat of my truck. She put pressure on the wound and all this. And they switched places is what it was, because that's not what happened. Rosie Rodriguez met me at the 7-Eleven. I'm positive of that. I know, there is no doubt whatsoever. She's a Hispanic. The other's a blonde. You know, I mean, I know that for a fact. But what I found out a couple years later, that Rosie Rodriguez was childhood friends with the primary beneficiary on my life insurance policy. Let that sink in. And maybe that's why April and Rosie were pulling this dual lie, and both of them were covered for each other, but they both lied on that. And the other thing is, you see that picture you're going to see, I'm going to flip it around, she's holding a camera. Okay, and when I found these pictures, I found out there's no police report to go along with the pictures. I was supposed to now going, look, she's got a camera. Well, 5 months later, or 4 months and 28 days later, after I was shot, Rosie turns in evidence of her CD with pictures on it, because she's seen on the internet, on my Facebook, that she got caught in my house with a camera. So 5 months later, she goes, oh, here's the evidence, you know, as if she wasn't sneaking in my home, because she got caught in that camera right there. That's what the deal is. They were just plain busted, you know. And you know, and rightfully so. I mean, I'm gonna say this is a capital murder attempt. You know, I mean, I'm home minding my own business. They loaded their guns, come to my home, pointed a gun at me while I wasn't paying attention, pulled the trigger, listened to me scream for help, waited for me to die. More than that, my life insurance booklets were taken a couple weeks earlier. You know, this was a killing. You know, another guy says 4 other people died here for me. Notice here at 3:55, somebody, one of these secret police, is searching my drawers. That's going to be important because you're going to see them searching drawers again in a minute. Okay, and so I think that was the last one, right? 12:20. I'm sorry if I got off, because I don't think that's supposed to be there. It's not. Okay, here's the police report for 129:12. No police at all. The 702 is the only entry, says test only for PW. My best guess is they did some kind of phone tap on me because they're trying to monitor the crippled crime victim so he don't catch them because they were involved in a capital attempted murder. That's my best guess, is here I am, the crime victim, and literally the crippled crime victim, the good citizen, and they're putting a tap on my phone to find out so they can counter any move so they don't get busted for the crimes they committed against me. That's my guess. And so now, okay, this is the next day. This is on 1/30, January 30th, 2012. Remember, I'm shot on the 28th, okay? And what I seen on this one at 6:09 a.m. in the morning, okay, right here was the first time I seen this under P-info. I believe P-info is a field called previous info, and it automatically attaches to every police report for the rest of my life, okay? And who did it was Officer Chandler. Okay, and she said, I'm paranoid, schizophrenic, Buddy Webb, etc., etc., etc. Remember, Officer Chandler is never listed as being in my house on any of the incident reports that I have. And I don't have that disease. I had not been diagnosed with that disease. This is a made-up life-ruining lie. It's a horrific disease. That's like saying I have AIDS or something. I don't have AIDS either, and I don't have paranoid schizophrenic or whatever. And the whole thing's a lie. I was home minding my own business. You know, they committed crime after crime after crime after me, and I believe they murdered the homeowner before me. Anyways, I'll show you that. We've seen that on every point. And that's when it started, was on January 30th. And so after that, I start seeing it. The next day after that, 131, right here. Okay, 131, Rodriguez, okay, right here, Rosie again. She meets the bomb squad over at my house to get my dog out of the backyard. The bomb squad. Why? Because it ain't safe at Buddy's house because he's crazy, right? And they're sneaking in my house, staging the crime scene, stealing evidence, and making up these lies about me. She met Brian Rackow, and you're going to recognize him because he's a guy who's only got one arm that accidentally blew it off in a training exercise, I believe. And so let's see what we got here. Okay. And this one got out of order. This is from January 29th as well. It's one of them. And one reason that I put this in here, you can see that Rosie here, this is Rosie, and this is Rosie. She's leaned over this nightstand. I found my cell phone when I got out of the hospital behind that nightstand. And it wasn't there. Remember I told you it's stolen? That's why I had no communications. My phone line was cut and my cell phone disappeared. Well, it was behind this nightstand when I got back. And then I get back and there's pictures of her leaned over the back of that nightstand. So I have to wonder, did Rosie put my phone back there that night when she was in my house, but supposedly, officially not even in my house? And so I have that picture too, and that one actually goes there. But okay, so now we're going to get into February 1st, 2012. This is the official entry into my home. This is the only known entry into my home. And so here's the police report for it at 9:54. And basically what happened, I'm at the hospital, I already had surgery. Rosie comes up there with another guy. I think I got a picture of him here in a minute. She comes up to the hospital, and they were going to go to my house and start the investigation. I wondered why they waited for so long. I've been up there at the hospital for 3 days, and I've already hand-drawn 2 maps of possible hidden entrance places to my house for them to check, which they took, to go to my house because they were pretending that they hadn't been in my house already because they didn't know they had been caught on camera, and I didn't know it either at the time. I'm wondering why it took you so long. And, of course, I also didn't know they were calling me crazy and everything else. And so then they took the maps. Yeah, we're going to go start that investigation, and, of course, they'd already been over there, and they got the bomb squad. I didn't even know that, right? Because I'm crazy, right? And so they got the bomb squad going to meet them over there, and it's all a con job. It's all part of this ruse to cover up this failed murder that was supposed to gain this house and make all this money. There's a thing. I calculate $1.5 million in insurance if I would have died, or in assets if I would have died by accident. And I'm not a wealthy man, and most of that was just life insurance. And I worked for a good company, had policies, but there was a lot of money, and as I said, my life insurance booklets were taken less than a month before I shot, and by the friend of Rosie Rodriguez. And so, anyways, we're going to flip this around here, and so these are the people that are listed as being in my house: Brian Racco, Joe Ramirez, Dylan Hale, Rosie Rodriguez, and Todd Stanley. Once again, here's the paranoid schizophrenics on every single report there is. And on 2-1. And my camera's still working, so I got more pictures of them, okay? And so here's Brian Rackow, and so at 10:04, and once again, they still don't know they're on camera, okay? This is the other guy at the hospital that come up there with Rosie. I don't know who he is or what his name was, but he's probably some kind of player there, And so... And here, this is interesting. Here's this guy. He's searching the same drawers we seen searching a while ago. Told you to remember that. Remember? So here we got a guy searching. And once again, here's Brian Racco, and he looks like he might be leaned over that same nightstand where I found my phone. So, somebody put my phone back, and there was secret police in my house, plus this group of police. And so somebody put my cell phone back, pretending that it was there all the time, basically. Okay. And so, let's see where I'm at. 128. Leaned over nightstand. Okay. 130, 131. Okay. All right. So then we're going to get, here we go. What do we got? Okay, later this year, October 19, 2012, Rhonda Ainsworth White. She lives here in Midland, worked for Apache, I think at the time. This is somebody I went to school with over in Hobbs growing up. Hadn't talked to in 30 years, 35 years. And I'm off the Facebook for a few hours, and she calls the police to my house. And actually, I went over to see my mom's gravestone. My mom, people follow this story, my mom died 52 days before I was shot, and there's still unanswered questions. I figured I was lied to about what happened with my mom, and I'm not going to be surprised at all. The people that are behind the crimes that have happened at this house are somehow connected to my mom's death. So it's very, very personal to me. And she was a saint. She loved the Lord with all her heart. And so anyway, this is just a record. It's proof, and I've wondered. I later caught this same person here, Rhonda Ainsworth White, for censoring me. She was deleting my Facebook post in a group that she was an admin on, and she never clicks on share or likes or nothing, and so it's kind of going, oh, I'm concerned about you, but I want to hide from everybody that somebody tried to murder you and you live under a death threat. It's like, well, that don't make sense. Why did you call the police to my house when I was gone for a few hours? Okay. This is interesting. I come over and Vivint comes out after I'm shot. Vivint is a security company, third-party national alarm company, and they come by and I wondered if they were set up to try to discredit me as far as people climb the attic, break in the house, whatever. And I pretty much don't trust anybody anymore. But I talked to them. I said, well, okay, we'll put it in. I'll pay for it, but I want it in my attic. And so I already have other alarm system attic. They're just not Vivint system, and this will prove to everybody you're telling the truth, and so I put it up there. My other alarm system kept going off. I can hear people moving around. I know it's happening. I've seen a person up there. I was shot while attic mounted burglar alarms were going off. It's a fact. They're getting in that attic. There is no doubt about that. And so my other system's going off, and the Vivint's just sitting there stupid, And so I call them up, and I'm like, hey, I got two systems here. It ain't working. Well, we'll get over and check it, So we test it. I'll see it works, buddy. Yeah, it's working fine, And same thing, So next time I call them up a few weeks later, I leave the alarms going off. Beep, beep, beep. And I'm on the phone talking to them, and it's going beep, beep, beep. Well, you hear that? I'm saying, somebody's breaking in this house. I've already been shot, and your system's sitting there stupid. Somebody is compromising your system. They're turning on and off your Vivint system to break in my house, and they use that for a capital attempted murder. And then, let's get over there and check it. And so they come over here, and one thing they did, they added some sensors. And what I figured out is they could do that without it showing up on the user logs. So if you had the software, you could disable, you could turn it on and turn it off, and that's what was going on. I knew it was going on, and so then, we found a little program in there. Yeah, you did. And so the very next day, Vivint alarm system called the police to my home. The Vivint. It wasn't Buddy saying somebody's in the attic. Vivint did, okay? And it was valid, and I knew it all along, And but I think they were afraid they're going to get sued if they didn't get that system working where it's supposed to work, And so the next day it called. So this is one of the calls. Actually, Vivint called the police twice, and I was only given one incident report when we subpoenaed it. So that's one of the missing incident reports, I believe. Also missing in reports. There's an information report. Supplement number 2 is mysteriously missing. And then there was that reference back on the XREF, and it referenced a incident number that I don't have either. And actually, there's no incident number for the night of the shooting. And you'd think there would be, but there's not. And you know, and what can you do? You go to a judge and you subpoena them to give you the records, and that's what they gave you. And so possibly that these missing records clear my name and show the truth, you know, and of course they might actually convict, you know, corrupt police, and I'm not anti-police at all. I'm anti-corrupt police, and you know, I'm actually a big supporter of law enforcement, and I realize it's going to take law enforcement to get involved here to arrest these criminals, to identify these secret police, and stop all this crime. And so anyway, I'm gonna go back over here. We're at December 19th, 2012. Interestingly, Chad Simpson shows up. Okay, Chad Simpson is a Midland Canine police officer, okay, and also Steve Bracken. And paranoid schizophrenic, we think we're talking to a kid. He thinks people's in his walls again. And I didn't even call them. Vivint called them. I mean, I can't stop the slander from these people. All right. All righty. So, let's get into this as more evidence, okay? On Facebook, I found Jerry Morales. He's the current mayor. The mayor at the time was Wes Perry. Interestingly about Wes Perry's partners right now are Lord Jacob Rothschild, Rupert Murdoch, and Vice President Dick Cheney in a company for drilling in Syria. And so Wes Perry was the mayor when I was shot. And the police department reports to the mayor, okay? And I had contacted Wes Perry back when he was mayor, but he's not mayor anymore. This contact is Jerry Morales, the current mayor. And so 47 days before the murder-suicide, or the alleged murder of Sandra Simpson, a policeman's wife, by her husband, a Midland Canine police officer, I had sent these pictures to the mayor and most of the city council members. So, Mayor Morales, can you confirm if any of these people are or were Midland police officers? That's a simple yes or no question. Are they or are they not? The police department reports to you, Mayor. I'm a citizen. Here's your pictures right here. One of them's wearing a Midland Canine police jacket, right? And he didn't answer me. You know, I've contacted him more than once. And actually, this went to Councilman Sparks. I did get a reply this day from Hotchkiss, Councilwoman Hotchkiss, but she didn't answer the question. None of them answered it. And I think what they're trying to do is ignore it, okay, and hoping that I'll go away, and so all the crimes keep getting committed against me, and so I'm being terrorized all this time, living under the threat of death, and they want me to move out so they can get away with this failed murder. I mean, that's my feelings. That's what I think's going on. But they didn't expect that one of these secret police to go murder somebody else, you know, and then so some people have asked, Could they be charged with second-degree murder? You know, because like if I tell you this story, it's an interesting story to you. But if you're the mayor and the police department works for you, you have a duty, right? You have a duty to the citizens. And if you ignore it, trying to cover it up, and then one of them secret police, criminal police, go murder somebody else, that falls on you, right? And so now people have asked, is that why we're not identifying the secret police? Because now the mayor and the city council go to prison for murder. You know, I don't know, you know, but I just want to show you that here's the proof and the evidence. They were notified, and I'm just trying to get them identified. I'm trying to stop the crimes against me. All right. I think this one was Sparks, Jeff Sparks. I actually even posted, I sent him a friend request. I didn't put this proof up here, but I sent him a Facebook friend request. He accepted me. So I started tagging him like on the death threat that I got. I'll show you in a minute. And it showed up on his Facebook post, you know. And so then I took screenshots to prove that Jeff Sparks had, you know, the death threat against me on his Facebook. And then he's seen it and unfriended me and deleted it. And I still live under a death threat. And so, okay, here it's starting to get in the rape and murder story. Look at the date, December 13th, 2014. I'm going to go back to the date on the Morales deal, okay? Look at the date, October 29th, okay? October 29th, I said, who are these people? Okay, they didn't answer. So about 6 weeks later, on December 13th, I posted this story called Rape and Murder. Go to my Facebook, go back on my timeline and find it. You'll read the whole story. It's bad, and I was told about this girl being murdered at an oil show party, at the 2010 oil show party. This ex-girlfriend that was there told me a girl was murdered there, and she was afraid to go report this because she said high-level police were there. Okay, she said the girl refused to prostitute. That's why they murdered that girl. And so I'm trying to get her to go report this murder, and I get a call from a police officer, a Midland police officer, that threatens to arrest me if I talk to her again, and I'm trying to get her to go report a murder she told me about the police are involved in, okay? That was all happened in 2010, okay? I'm shot in 2012, right? So we were at 2014, and I write this story called Rape and Murder. It's about the girl's murder. I really believe the oil show parties was happening in an underground facility, which is a half block from this house, and I haven't talked about that yet, but we're going to get in that in a minute. And I think they're right here. I think it's connected to the underground access to this house and the whole thing, and maybe one of the 4 people who were murdered that Aaron Packelhofer mentioned was this girl, that was murdered for refusing to prostitute. So notice the picture here is the picture of the K-9 police officer, secret police in my house. Okay? And so 2 days after this is when the murder-suicide happened. Okay? And so see the picture, rape and murder. You can go back and go to my timeline. On Facebook, it's Buddy Wayne Webb. You can look me on Facebook, Buddy Wayne Webb. Okay, here we go. MPD chief, police officer involved in murder-suicide, December 15, 2014. And this from the Midland Reporter Telegram. Okay, I believe he was a K-9 officer. I've got other proof of that, okay? And what I did was took a picture of the secret police in my house, and then I took his picture and I went side-by-side comparison. I said, that looks like him to me, I think that's him, And then I know he's a K-9 officer, and here's a guy wearing a K-9 jacket, okay? And then 2 days before that, I had posted this picture, right? 2 days before this murder-suicide, I'd posted this picture with story of a rape and murder, okay? And then I've asked people, if you were a wife, okay, and then more than that, they're from Hobbs. Chad and Sandra Simpson are from Hobbs, Lovington, and I'm from Hobbs too. So we're all from the same hometown. I think somebody called Sandra and said, look what Buddy's posted, okay? And so she goes out there and she reads this story of this little girl being raped and murdered and the police helping. And then she sees this K-9 police officer, and then she looks at the other pictures, this one right here, and she recognizes her husband. And then that's what caused the murder-suicide. Just yesterday around town, and I heard a story that I've heard many times. Well, I heard that she was cheating on him, and it's like I keep hearing that, and I think these criminals that are behind this made that story up. I got a feeling she probably never cheated on him at all. That was to cover up the real truth, because I got a feeling what happened was that she read my Facebook post. Somebody said, look what Buddy posted, and she recognized her husband. If you were a wife and you sat there and read about a little girl being raped and murdered and police are involved and your husband's a policeman, and then you recognize your husband stinking inside of a home in front of a capital attempted murder and know that that's going to ruin you and your kids' lives, would that upset you? That's my theory of what happened with Chad Simpson. And so, I don't know, and we all have our own theories, but it makes sense to me. Okay. So, okay, and here's a picture of Sandra. This is from her obituary. Rest in peace, Sandra. And this is right from CBS 7. Midland Police Chief Bryce Redmond tells them investigating the shooting is a murder-suicide. Officer was found dead in his home. K-9 officer Chad Simpson believed to be the one who pulled the trigger on the woman and himself. Okay, and so I got that. Okay, now I'm just going to get into some other bits and pieces of my investigative evidence. Okay. When did they rig this home? That was a question, okay? Well, all toilets have a date on it, okay? And a trick is, I used to be married to this real estate appraiser, and she showed me this trick. She knows everything there is to know about toilets, okay? And so you lift the lid off the toilet, and there's a date, and that's usually the date that the home's built, because most people don't replace toilets. So you just lift the lid and go, oh, here's the date, okay? And so I have 2 toilets. One's dated 82, year my home's built. This other one, though, is dated January 7th, 2004, okay? So was that when Is this when the remodeling was taking place, reconstruction to provide hidden access to this house to rig it for murder and crime, And what's interesting is who owned the house at the time was a Brandy Merrill. Okay, she owned the house, and then she ended up marrying Daniel Price, and they ended up living across the street in another home, okay, on 3809 Fair Circle. And this home right here was the home that used to be owned by the brother-in-law of U.S. Congressman Mike Conaway. So anyway, that's just one piece of possible evidence to toll it, okay? True Miracle email, okay? This is sent January 8, 2013, less than a year after I shot. Look at all the people. I went and built a distribution list of all this. I went on the internet of all the supervisors for the Midland Police Department, the sheriff. There's Wes Perry I was talking about earlier. Here's Jerry Morales. He was a councilman at the time. Rick Perry that ran for president of the United States, right? He was governor of Texas. Rick Perry has seen pictures of the secret police. Actually, I've taken this and called Everybody Knows but the public. Everybody knows. Half the churches in Midland I sent email to and showed them pictures, Craig Matthews, this guy's the internal affairs officer. And Sheriff Gary Painter, he's famous, Midland Sheriff Gary Painter, and news people, and on and on and on. So I'm going to show you that's the True Miracle. That was the name of this email, True Miracle, because I give God all the praise and glory for me being alive. Okay. Amazing. This should be a national story. I took $2,000 of my disability money because now I'm disabled, and I offered a reward to identify all these secret police, and I built a collage out of them. This is the one I said that I think looks like Chad Simpson. I think that's Rosie Rodriguez. I think that's April Chandler. It looks like this one right here has a different badge than that one, so I don't even think they're the same police department, okay? He's got glasses and he don't. And so, and then these first two are in tan uniforms. I told you, maybe Mike Naylor, right? And Chad Simpson, Sandra Simpson. That could be 3 deaths that are people directly related to the capital murder attempt of my life. Okay, so $2,000 reward. That should be a national news story. One of the big ones here, okay, this is from a medical report, okay, and this shows the size of the pellets from the lab report, the removed from my foot, okay, size of pellets removed from my foot, because they say I shot with a shotgun. Remember that x-ray is falsified too, but that's what they say. This is one of my shells, okay, shotgun shells, and this is the size, 7.5, okay, and here's the size, okay, 2.5 sizes different from the size of the pellets removed from my foot from the sizes that were in my gun, okay. That's like saying the guy with the .22 gun shot the person that has a hole in him with the .45, It didn't happen. It didn't happen, period. It didn't happen. Now, that's absolute hard proof.